All right, man, peace. You know, brother, self-awareness is an extremely important characteristic for us to have. I touch on that component of life repeatedly on this channel because especially when it comes to the so-called black man, many of the mistakes that we make are due to a lack of self-awareness because too many times we try to appeal to our ego. That brings us to Mr. Dak Prescott. Always remember that perfect is the enemy of good. And it's better to have a wife who's a 6 or 7 out of 10 who's going to hold you down than a dime piece who's going to pat you on the back 1 second and then stab you in the back whenever you're down and out. Always remember that. Why am I saying this? Because Dak Prescott happens to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. He has great personnel around him. I think that he's a quarterback who can make it work with great personnel around him. He's still in the development stages, even though I think that he may have some issues off the field that could eventually hurt him on the field. But that's another video for another day. The point being is this. It seems as though he's allowing certain thoughts to ruminate in his mind that he might consider having the Dallas Cowboys put in the position where they're going to be compelled by his agent to pay him the max. And Dak Prescott is not a max quarterback. Now, he was recently confronted by an interview who asked him about Tom Brady taking low in many of his salaries. And Dak Prescott decided that he was going to strike back and bring up Tom Brady's wife. So, of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Well, let's get back to Dak Prescott because this is very interesting. His contract is going to be one of the most talked about things this NFL offseason. He is still in his rookie deal. 4 years, $2.7 million. And why is that?
It's a bargain because Dak Prescott ever was a 4th-round draft pick, so we didn't get that massive deal that a lot of the 1st-round draft picks get.
Yeah.
Let me say this. With Dak Prescott being a 4th-round quarterback, I'm sure that he's on his rookie deal still. And he's not getting paid as much as he feels like he should be getting paid for his production. And I've always been in Dak's corner in many videos, even though I have not shied away from criticizing him because he does hold the ball a little bit too long. And his accuracy down the field is certainly something that should be scrutinized. But he has shown great strides. And I think that if they draft another wide receiver, maybe a tight end, who knows? He might be able to take his game to a whole other level and maybe even throw for 30 touchdown passes next season. Still, in all, I can't help but wonder if there are some voices in the back of his head telling him to go for the money grab now in case he suffers a huge injury or in case he has a bad season next year. And the Cowboys might decide if they're only giving him a small amount of guaranteed money to cut him, release him, remove him, marginalize him, draft another quarterback. Those thoughts have to be in his mind because he knows how tenuous the situation is being a quarterback in the NFL.
Yes, so he's one of the lowest paid starting quarterbacks in the league.
Bargain.
And when his contract expires at the end of the 2019 season, a lot of people are wondering, are you going to go and try to get the Aaron Rodgers kind of money, one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, or are you going to go?
Well, he's not going to get that. And I think that if he asks for $30 million a year, he's going to be playing himself.
You're going to go for like a Tom Brady style deal where you take less money so that your team can pay other important players so you can have a more successful team.
Well, in a perfect world, that's what he would go for. I think that he's probably going to end up requesting somewhere around $25 million. That's where his agent is going to start off at. And the Cowboys are going to talk him down to about $20 million. Maybe even if they're fortunate, $19 million. Because he does need a lot of talent around him. Dak is not a Tom Brady. They don't run the system, nor does Dak have the football IQ to build up receivers like a Tom Brady can.
Remember, Tom Brady is under a 2-year, $30 million contract, so he only made $15 million last year.
Right. When you consider guys like Aaron Rodgers made $33.5 million last year, Matt Ryan made $30 million, and these are guys that
Kirk
Tom Brady's
$28 million.
Right. And
So
Tom Brady's better than Kirk.
Right, but when you're talking about Matt Ryan, when you're talking about Aaron Rodgers, those quarterbacks have won MVP awards. Even when you talk about this dude right here, Kirk Cousins, no, he's not a great quarterback in the clutch, by no means. But he does put up huge numbers. Dak Prescott has not put up those huge numbers yet, even though, ironically enough, he's been very successful against Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Tom Brady was the 20th highest paid quarterback in the league. Dak Prescott's got to be at the bottom of that list.
Yes.
So here's the deal. So he was asked specifically, what's the deal going to look like? Were you willing to take less money?
Once again, Tom Brady is the Tim Duncan of the NFL.
To have a better team, or do you want that Aaron Rodgers style money? And this is what Dak Prescott said. His answer is very interesting.
I know that you're in a contract year, and Tom Brady over the course of his career, I think records say like he saved the Pats like $60 million. He's obviously the GOAT, right?
One has to wonder though, Where are the Patriots spending all that money at? Because it's not like they're signing any big-time free agents. So is Tom Brady just, is he just taking discounts just because? Like, where's the money going?
Right, he's making like $15 million, I think, base salary, which other quarterbacks are making like almost double that, which is crazy.
Nobody's wife makes as much money as his wife does either.
That's how you know Dak Prescott watches a lot of First Take and a lot of Undisputed. Because those type of arguments get regurgitated on those debate sports talk shows. How much money Tom Brady's wife makes. And she's really his handler, by the way. I've touched on this in other videos. Gisele Bündchen is his handler. Tom Brady recently came out and admitted that Gisele Bündchen is a witch. And I'll be covering that in another video. I did a video on Gisele Bündchen a very long time ago pertaining to her Luciferian ties. And Tom Brady is the same way. He's a monarch athlete and he's a Luciferian. And he's a witch, just like his wife. It's just that his wife is on a far higher level than him. He's an initiate under her. But she's the master, he's the apprentice. She is his handler. And they were assigned to come together. And I always use this comparison when you watch the film Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone was his handler. It was her job to play his wife.
Make sure we know that, all right? Make sure we know that.
You see that? He wears t-shirts, I love Giselle. They have a soul tie. She has spells on him. She also has all his triggers and keys.
That's a good point. That's a dual income household there.
Exactly. When Tom Brady isn't the breadwinner in the home, then that's a great problem to have. So in that case, he can do that. He can do his contracts however you want to do them. But for me, it's about I've got a great agent. I'm gonna just let him do what he's best at.
Well, that's a pretty good answer. You're going to let your agent do what he's best at, and your agent better not overstep his bounds. Because it's going to be embarrassing if you have to step in and accept a lower offer. I promise you, Jerry Jones and his son are not going to be playing with you at the bargaining table. They want you to prove that you can come into the NFL in your 4th season and light up the league. They're going to expect a 4,000 plus passing season, somewhere around 30 touchdowns, and 10 or less interceptions if you're going to even think about touching on that $25 million per year number.
Just leave it at that.
Okay, so translation is he ain't giving the Cowboys a Tom Brady discount because he doesn't have a Giselle at home.
Like, I can never blame a football player for trying to get every single cent that he's worth. The careers are so short.
But what he's saying is, like, the fact that Tom Brady is married to such a high-income earner like Giselle.
How much does Giselle make, by the way?
In 2016, she made, according to Forbes, $30 million that year. The year before, she made 17.5, and last year she made $10 million. Of course, like, her modeling career is on the downslope.
Right.
For a long time, she was the highest-paid model in the world, and she was making more money annually than Tom Brady. And what Dak Prescott's trying to say.
Now, formerly, if I remember correctly, Gisele Bündchen was assigned to Leo DiCaprio. After the previous relationship that Tom Brady was in with that other actress, I believe her name was Bridget Moynihan, who looked like a tranny to me, allegedly. But she looked like a tranny to me, Bridget Moynihan does. And of course, Gisele Bündchen may be as well. Either way, once their relationship flamed out, Gisele was transferred over to Tom Brady. Because it's very important that you have a good MK handler in the home to maintain placidity and peace for the asset so that they can maximize the asset.
Trying to say is Tom Brady didn't need to push the Pats to pay him top dollar because he had another source of income.
Here's the one thing, and it gets very dicey when players are talking about this ridiculous amount of money that they make, because you got Cowboy fans sitting at home, some plumber who's not making any money.
Right, but you know the thing about a plumber, and people try to make these analogies or these comparisons between superstar athletes and quote-unquote regular Joes. You can go to school or an institute to become a plumber, right, and join a plumber's guild or what have you. You can't go to school and become Dak Prescott or Tom Brady or one of the top 30 quarterbacks on the planet Earth. You just can't do that. And then on top of that, you're a member of the most popular entertainment organization in America by far. Football is the biggest TV show on television. I'm not just talking about sports. Entertainment, period. Football is the #1 force on TV in America.
And he hears Dak Prescott saying that he can't survive off of $15 million a year?
That's not what he's saying.
That's what I'm hearing.
He's just saying that.
No, what Dak is saying is that he's not going to allow himself to be shorted because he does not know how long his career is going to last. He has the right to that belief, but he also has to understand that if he wants to win, he can't go into Jerry Jones's office asking for $30 million.
The Tom
Not everybody has a wife that's
upper
rich.
echelon. Dude, yeah, when
You
your
can
wife's
live
making
off
$30
$15
million
million a year, Dak.
Yeah, but when your wife's making 30
I'm not quite sure. Dak has certain habits where he might not be able to live off $15 million a year. Also, keep in mind that $15 million a year is really $7.5 million a year.
$30 million a year, you don't have to fight the Patriots for an extra $1 million, $2 million. You got that extra income. What's that extra? It's peanuts at that point.
Here's the thing. The reason Tom Brady has 6 rings is because, to a large degree, he has allowed the Pats to go and spend that money elsewhere.
No, that's all speculation. You'd be able to substantiate that if you could say, here are all the big-time signings they've made since Tom Brady has taken low in his salary. And you can't name anybody. You have Gronkowski, he gets paid a little bit, but who else are they really paying? They're paying the kid Stephon Gilmore, but who else?
And Dak, it's clear now, is going to wring every cent he can out of the Cowboys, and that is going to hurt them.
The Cowboys.
Now look at Dak's face here. Dak looks zooted out of his fucking mind. Well, once again, I'll be going over that more in depth in another video.
Cowboys have a, look, Ezekiel Elliott is going to want a lot of money.
Some guys
Amari
are gonna
Cooper
get paid.
is going to want a lot of money. There's a lot of guys on that team that are going to ask for big
Can't
dollars.
pay everyone.
Yeah, so it's, Dak's really got to think about this long and hard. Is it worth it to take as much money now as you can?
Right, and decimate your team.
Yeah, or do you want to take that sacrifice? I'm glad it's not my problem.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. Once again, brother, self-awareness is very important in life. We have to be aware of where we're at, how happy we are in the environment that we're in, and if we're willing to put money over the contentment of where we're at. So Dak Prescott is going to have to figure that out, because we've already seen how he looks without a great wideout. We've seen that already. He becomes an extremely pedestrian quarterback. He has a lot of heart, a lot of grit, but he needs talent on the outside. And will another team be willing to give him that opportunity? Who knows? Now, if the Cowboys, if Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones decide that they're going to get gangster with him in the negotiations, and Dak says, okay, bump this, I'm just going to bet on myself, maybe they'll franchise tag him for a while. So they still have a lot of control. If they do decide to let him go and Dak decides to bet on himself, who knows where his career can go. But I doubt that it's going to come to that. I think that he's very happy where he's at. I think that Jerry Jones is very happy with him. So peace.